Welcome to Chasing Impact, Not Sales, where heart meets hustle, strategy meets service, and selling feels good again. I'm your host, Mandy Minatello. Let's go. Hey, welcome back to the Chasing Impact, Not Sales podcast. I'm Mandy, and we're going to dive right in. At the time that I'm recording this, we're headed into the holiday season. Next week is Thanksgiving, and after that comes all of the things that lead right up to Christmas, New Year's, and into the 2026. And with all of that, I am finding that maybe it's because I'm connecting with people I haven't seen in a while. Maybe it's because there's lots of events that happen around the holidays, people doing traveling, seeing family, friends, things like that. But it's been coming up a lot more in conversation recently, like that question of, hey, what are you doing now? Right? Because I'm seeing people I haven't seen in a minute. And inevitably, my response to that question, in that when I say I'm a fractional sales officer, ends up in a deep dive conversation and results in really a definition of terms and then, an alignment with where we are. And I thought, you know what? This is a pertinent conversation for a podcast episode, because you do see this surgence of fractional recently. And it's not just in sales. You see the term fractional in front of officer, and in between, you see marketing, sales, finance, tech, operations. It's the fractional officer across the board of these executive level positions. And so, this conversation goes to like, what is a fractional officer, and why are you a fractional officer, and why am I seeing this, and I don't feel like it was around before, And as we're chatting through it, I realize that the surgence of fractionals across the board really, in my opinion, is a result of the recession. And by recession, I don't mean necessarily finances. I mean the trust recession that has become an epidemic, over the last couple of years. People lack trust. Businesses lack trust. Consumers lack trust. And businesses are having to rethink their marketing strategies and their client service to build trust before people will invest as heavily as they were a few years ago. And we don't need to get into the rhyme or reason behind why this trust recession exists, or, answer all the questions about it. I'm just saying it is fact, right? That people, no matter what they're buying, are taking longer to determine the value and whether or not there is a return on their investment enough to justify spending whatever it is for whatever they're spending. And I'll go ahead and say it. The amount of money in the world has not changed, but people's perspective of the value is what has changed. And so people's perception of where they should invest, what they should do with their money, what they should, bring into their lives, right? Like, that is what has changed. And people are trigger shy. Okay. And so I come back to, really, I'm talking about like the online business space, because that's really where most of my most of my fractional work has been. And in the online space, especially, there's this fear of commitment. And this comes from both sides. I was talking about from the consumer perspective of like, I really need to weigh the ROI before I invest into something that may not have taken all this thought, in 2020, 2019, but really post this whole COVID change in perspective of online business. Now the consumer is fearful of commitment, but also you've got a whole different ball game of people running huge businesses and wanting that executive level like attention to their business, but having various reasons why they are also trigger shy to hire on a full-time executive level C-suite officer. And so you've got this surgeons. Another thing that you've got, and we're going to get into like the reasons like why fractional versus full-time in a minute. But the other thing that I have seen across the board, and it's a benefit, is who are these fractionals, right? Who are these people? Fractionals are people with lifetimes of experience and expertise in their craft who are making themselves available, but are also not necessarily looking for different reasons, not necessarily looking for that full-time commitment with one company, product, or service, right? So they have a world of experience and expertise to offer, but they're not necessarily looking for the W-2 package with a retirement plan and all of this stuff. They want more flexibility, more freedom. So that's who the fractionals are, is the epitome of experts in their field who are looking for time freedom, maybe. They're looking for location freedom. They're looking for, just flexibility across the board. And with the changes that have happened in the online world, this is available to them and to us. And we know it. And so we have become fractional officers. Whereas in the past, maybe we were seated at the C-suite level of a business. Some fractionals have retired, but they're not ready to hang it up. They still have a lot to offer. Some fractionals have pivoted into a different just stage of life. And so they want their life to look a little different. There's lots of different reasons for people to be a fractional officer, to offer themselves and to offer their expertise and their skill set at that level. But why would companies want these people? And that's really where the conversation is kind of new, right? Like, because these people are available, but like, why? And so really there's 4 reasons that I can think of why fractionals are a great choice for people. They're a good alternative. Number 1 is the cost savings, right? A fractional can cost you 50% less than a full-time executive compensation. Think about the packages that you offer a full-time executive. Like, fractionals bring that same level of expertise with no benefits package. They don't need equity. They don't have overhead costs, all the things that come with a full-time employee. So they bring the skill set and ask for the freedom and flexibility, and you get 50% or more. It could be up to 70% savings on what they're going to cost you. The second one is what I already was talking about is the talent. Like, they bring this high level caliber of expertise that If you were looking for a full-time role of someone at that level, they would be out of reach. And they're only one in a million, right? So they bring this talent that is in the full-time space, harder to find. Um, Flexibility and scalability. What's great is most fractionals work on a contract basis. So, you're signing a contract with them that's a time frame. So if your company, and this is what I see a lot, your company needs to focus on one area for a season, for a sprint, for a fix it, if you will, right? And so let's just use my area. So you're having a sales issue and you've got bottlenecks and holes in your funnel and your system, and your sales team needs training and all of that stuff. So you bring in a fractional CSO for a period of time. And I bring that expertise, come in, help you out, get everything running smoothly. And then guess what? I'm not on your payroll for the next 25 years. I am a contract employee. So then once your sales is nailed tight and now you want to ramp up your marketing because your sales team is in place. So now we want to really spend the next season really focusing on marketing. So you're going to look for a fractional marketing officer that's going to come in and do the same thing, bring in their level of expertise, their high caliber skill set to hone that for that season. So you're able to have that flexibility to scale your business with absolute intention for time periods. And the last reason that I can think of really goes back to the trust recession. And that is the reduced risk. If the fit of a fractional doesn't feel right with your company once you bring them in, you're not, for lack of better terms, married to them forever. It's a shorter commitment. Again, I said it's a contract. And when that contract's done, they move on and you've now got clearer expectations of what you're looking for. So if it's easy to change directions. You don't have to fire anyone. You don't have to unemployment, all the things, right? Like you can bring in without the commitment. You can bring in that expertise level and really watch your business change, and grow into what it is that you are envisioning. By bringing in fractionals, you're able to chase your dream with the best of the best sitting at your table. Whether that best of the best sits at your table for 6 months, 2 years, whatever your contract is, you really are giving yourself the tools to grow like a corporate, like in a corporate format with a flexible freedom culture. And to me, that's the best of both worlds, whether you're, the sitting in the seat of the fractional as I do, or sitting in the seat of the business owner. Like by bringing in fractionals, you are raising the bar for your whole industry, right? And so when people ask me, what are you? Fractional sales officer. I come in, I do a deep dive audit of your sales systems, determine where the bottlenecks and the holes are, and then help strategize, come in, train, do the things that need to be done. And sometimes it feels really good to have like the superhero cape on, save the day, and fly off. Sometimes I fall in love with the culture and the nature of the business. And, I wish that I had that seat at the table for longer, but it serves a purpose, right? Like it serves the purpose. I serve the purpose. And I have some amazingly talented friends that serve the purpose in the areas of marketing, in the areas of project management, financials, and tech. And I've learned from some of the best what it means to be the fractional officer and how to be of the utmost service. And that's really what I get to be I get to use my heart, my skill set to make a difference, albeit temporary, but to make a real difference, solve real problems, and be of service to industries and businesses that I otherwise would not even have an opportunity to connect with. And it's just such a blessing. So as we head into Thanksgiving, let me, number one, say with wholehearted gratitude, thank you to everyone that I have worked with that has given me the seat at the table to share your vision and your dream and to share in your growth and achievement. And for those that are looking to 2026 and thinking, man, I have some big goals and I hope I achieve them. Let me just tell you, hope is not a strategy, but there is a strategic answer. And it could be in the form of bringing on a fractional for a minute in whatever field it is that you want to focus on. So thank you. Enjoy Thanksgiving if you're hearing this right beforehand. Be blessed and let's go. Thanks for listening to Chasing Impact, Not Sales. If this episode sparked something, share it, subscribe, and remember, real sales come from real service. Keep chasing impact.